On Good Friday, I attended a church service with British Unitarians at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 or 7 p.m. their time. As soon as the worship leader appeared on screen, the first words out of his mouth were, "I'm sorry," but of course in that wonderful British accent. So it was like, I'm sorry. He was in a new apartment, he explained. He said the Wi-Fi connection was spotty and his technical setup was glitchy and, just a moment, please. He was at a desk in a plain room and he looked very distressed. And you know how Zoom is. In another kind of corner of the screen, there was a woman somewhere else. She was very gracious and dressed in these kind of beautiful woolen cloaks, sitting in a very beautiful green kind of monastic setting. And she reassured him, "Francis, we're here. You can't see us, but we can see and hear you just fine. Don't worry. There are 12 of us gathered." And then we started. The minister shared a beautiful prayer. He shared his reflections on the meaning of Good Friday from a Unitarian perspective. And since the recorded music he had planned for couldn't be shared, he gave readings of the lyrics of the hymns. I had been invited to play the part of Jesus. I know, non-traditional casting. And I had, as part of my responsibilities, the breaking of the bread and the distribution of the element to the congregation. Many liberal Christian churches say all are worthy, all are welcome as part of their invitation to communion. But I had a nervous stomach worrying about whether I would do everything just right as a guest there. I didn't have a napkin, and I was wearing a white alb. What if I broke the bread wrong? What if I wiped grape juice on my white robe? What if we fail? What a terror there is in that. Sometimes the stakes are laughingly low, a stain on a white robe, and sometimes they're perilously high. That's the responsibility we collectively inhabit as well. What if I hurt my child? What if we cannot save the beach? What if we can never find a solution to war? What if our species is irredeemably stupid, violent, and destructive? How do we go on? How do we get out of bed and face the day without feeling that we're faking it, that we're just play-acting meaning when we feel full of rage and despair and fear? Easter speaks of and witnesses to a power greater than the rage. A power that understands and even experiences despair with us and abides eternally, not just in heaven or beyond us, but among us, in the created world we inhabit, and even within our own broken, frightened selves. We gather together as a congregation not to demonstrate that we are perfect or even particularly together at all, but to be made aware of our belovedness. Here's what Shug, the sassy songstress in Alice Walker's beloved novel, The Color Purple, has to say about church. "Celie, tell the truth. Have you ever found God in church? I never did. I just found a bunch of folks hoping for him to show. Any God I ever felt in church, I brought in with me. And I think all the other folks did too. They come to church to share God, not find God." We remember today all the ways that life and hope have returned to us. We share that, and we wear fancy hats to say, I am here because I too have endured many winters. And I have known that spring comes again. I will remember that. I will praise the source of that renewing spirit of spring that maketh all things new. Shug also says in The Color Purple, I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. People think pleasing God is all God cares about, but any fool living in the world can see it always trying to please us back. I said a few weeks ago that one of the most difficult things to accept may be that we are truly precious as we are, with no shininess, no production values, and no effort. I've always been taken by that passage in the Gospel of Mark we just heard, when that angelic figure says to the women, he is not here, he has been raised. Notice the way that's phrased. There's no effort in it. He's been raised. It's pure transcendence, no work required. We cannot forget or minimize what this says about the nature of God's love. It exists, it acts, it raises up with no work on the recipient's behalf. He is risen, goes the traditional Easter greeting, Christos anesti, if you're Greek Orthodox, or as my grandparents were in Russian Orthodox tradition, Christos voskres. And the response goes, Voistenos voskres, he is risen indeed. What secret purple wisdom, asks the poet Lucy Shaw, tells the iris edges to unfold in frills? What silver sound thaws winter into spring, speaks clamor into singing, gives love for loneliness? We must create quiet, space, gentleness, kindness, joy, companionship without expectation, so that we can find and behold and celebrate that secret purple wisdom together by whatever name we call it, lest we miss its working in the world. I have been looking for evidence of it during walks around my city, Lynn, in the past weeks, looking especially in the not pristine and postcard perfect corners of the community. The people, we struggle everywhere. We blow it. We have set up brutal systems. We set crushing expectations for some and no expectations for others. We are worried. We secretly accept the sacrifices of others, hoping and praying we will never be expected to make equal sacrifices. We are a mess. But there is purple, the crocuses rising unasked, planted long ago by human hands or squirrels. Even though the yard is not ready, has not been set with the nice tablecloth and the best silver, the purple appears regardless. Here is the purple that someone has hung as a protective amulet on their rearview mirror. May it protect that driver in her commute, wherever she's going. May the purple be a visual bell of mindfulness to her. Return her to whatever peace-inducing mantra she associates with that talisman of protection. Or maybe it's just an air freshener. I don't know. There is purple in the painted trash can, art created by a local student to adorn the cityscape's least lovely landmark. What goes into this receptacle is filth, all that is rejected and discarded, and yet someone has seen fit to make a statement with it. Beauty can be here too. Why not? We will dignify even this container for garbage. Literally anywhere can be an opportunity to express the creative spirit. Bringing art to unwanted and unloved spaces is an act of resistance. Here is a cheerful purple garden flag in a winter exhausted and barren yard. And here, a purple glass vase on a porch for no useful reason at all. And a wreath of plastic lavender on a door to remember the fragrant lavender that grows in warmer months in the front garden by no effort whatsoever by the lady who lives there. The lavender will come again. It will be risen. And in her afternoons of chilly solitude, she remembers that and feels heartened. And here is purple. Is it yarn? I don't know, but purple woven most mysteriously through the budding tree on a side road that could be anywhere in the world, so ordinary it is. Remembering Miss Shug's admonition, I see it and I feel obligated to spend a moment with this fragile and unexpected purple adornment of the dormant tree. I don't trouble my mind with how it got there. The wind, birds, fairies, some secret purple wisdom that wove together a startling and fragile web of human-made and nature-made elements to, who knows why, delight anyone who happens to be passing by and paying attention. Is that God trying to please me, the random human walking her beagle? Or is it I who pleases God by noticing, by marveling, by wondering? Whatever the case, it's an interruption of the best kind. A teasing wink from a beloved. God is the love that raises up. We don't know how. And although we put in tremendous effort valiantly to do so ourselves, to create resurrection where there was and is shambles, today we must remember that there is a power that does so even when we are unable to. Love is lifting. Life is raising, even when there's nothing we can do. God loves us and this world, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Notice, receive, and then go tell the story.